Well, my friends, we have an interesting article that came out today. A little bit of behind the scenes look with Charles Boyd on Ossus and some of his thoughts. And some of mine might be controversial. Let's talk about it. Hello my friends, Boomy here once again with another video for you, my Swtor brothers and sisters. How's everyone doing out there today? And if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button for all your Swtor news and fun from your bearded BioWare influencer guy, me. Friends, we had a little look behind the scenes of Ossus in a little article, it's not that long, with Charles Boyd, the creative director over there at Swtor BioWare in Austin. He's a great guy. He's part of the 501st. These guys who do amazing cosplay. And he also just writes some amazing stories. And the Trooper being his favorite. So they did an article with him, interviewing him a little bit about his thoughts on Ossus, some of the characters in Ossus, his thoughts behind them. Now, having read through it myself, I read through it a couple times, and there were a couple things that I did pick up on. One for some future content that we'll see down the road, and another one to where I made me kind of go, what? No. So let's read the article, we'll get into it, and then we'll discuss it. Here we go. So here we go, a look behind the scenes with Ossus. In December, like it says, in December, they sat down with him to talk a little bit about it, and here's what they asked. In Game Update 5.10, Jedi Under Siege, we saw the return of several characters. How did you decide which of these familiar faces players would see? And he goes on. Probably the biggest example is Darth Malgus. I always felt he was a bit shortchanged in the core game storyline, given that he's easily our most iconic and recognizable Sith character. That said, I didn't want to bring him back until his return would feel like a natural part of the story. Now that we've returned to the core conflict of Republic versus Sith Empire that Malgus himself originally kicked off, it seemed like the right time to bring him back into the fold. Master Nostral is an interesting case, in that he never actually appeared in the game. On a side note, I will say that he is actually one of my favorite characters in Star Wars The Old Republic, even though until 5.10 he actually, like Charles said, he never actually was in the game itself. Just saying that. He continues, he never appeared in the game before this update, but was a major character in our pre-release timeline videos, as well as Drew Caprinson's Swtor novel Annihilation. It was actually Drew who suggested using Nostral when I was first outlining the Jedi Under Siege storyline. Given the setting of Ossus and the goal of preserving the Jedi and their teachings for the future, he was just a perfect fit of the character and story. And for that, I will 100% agree, that's for sure. He continues and goes on, Melora was probably the one character in this update that no one expected to see again. Given that her previous role was fairly minor, I needed a Sith who was focused on biology, and ideally someone whose career had started around the same time as the Sith players, so they would feel more like a contemporary rather than a superior. And I love that Melora would automatically have a bit of history with players who had completed her mission on Korriban, so she was a perfect fit. Yeah, I agree. There you go. Now this is where I'm going to this is where I'm going to take off on off ramp on this one, but here we are. On a similar note, they ask, what about the new characters? With Talidar, my goal was to introduce someone who could grow to become an iconic hero in the same vein as Satele Shan, whose name, personally, Boomy, I always misspell. Since Satele has moved beyond her role as a Republic counterpart to Malgus at this point. Tal personifies a lot of the inherent conflicts and challenges of being a Jedi, so I think she'll be a fun and interesting character for players to interact with as the storyline continues to unfold. Along with Tal, we also introduced General Darren, or Darren DePaul rather, on the Republic side. Charles continues, I feel like we've historically overdone it a bit on the number of Republic authority figures who are morally questionable, ends justify the means types, probably because they're so fun to write. So Darren is meant to go to the other direction, embodying all that's good and noble about the Republic and its goals. The last of the new characters is Major Henri. Boomy saying right here, my personal favorite one at 510. On the Imperial side, Henri is meant to show how the Empire has evolved over time, to the point that an alien and former slave can now become a decorated officer. I also really wanted to include the perspective of everyday citizen rather than a Sith as part of this update, so that players could feel like they were getting a more complete picture of the Empire's current status. They ask him, what were you most excited for players to experience this update? And Charles responds, it's hard to pick just one. I'm really proud of the whole update. Seeing players connect with the new storyline and start theorizing about where things will go from here is always really exciting to me. On a side note, that video, I'm working on it, about who's pulling Malgus's strings. I'm working on it. And he continues, I'm also particularly proud of the little hidden elements we were able to include, like the various references to the Tales of the Jedi and Dark Empire comics that are scattered around. And they asked Charles, what were some things you wanted to do differently with Ossus compared to previous planets? Charles says, it had been a while since we featured a big, wide-open planet where you can just wander around and explore freely, so I wanted to be sure we hit that note. I also wanted to be sure that we had a strong difference in feel between Republic and Imperial storylines, with very different motivations involved for each side. We were also able to get some dynamic weather effects on Ossus, something that's totally new for Swtor. I'm looking forward to expanding on that more on future planets. Future planets? Hello? And their last question to Charles, what are you most excited for with Swtor in 2019? And then, you know, being Swtor, mostly positive, mostly stuff I can't talk about yet. Winky smiley face, asking me again at our community cantina at Celebration in Chicago in April. And they say thank you, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers here on this one, but this right here. This little thing, blah, blah, blah. No, yeah, kinda. Okay, so I did a video not too long ago about, like, you know, my thoughts and review on Ossus and 510 Jedi Under Siege, and I, you know, gave like my little perspective on the characters that we got to meet there. And, you know, as, you know, I talked about Henri and how I can relate to her, and like just her personality was just amazing. It just, to me, she was well written. Darren, I thought, was also well written as well. And Nostral, well, it's Nostral, so yeah, reasons. Malgus is Malgus, and we've got our own tinfoily hat stuff to talk about there in a later video. However, with Tau, I personally did not enjoy her writing. I honestly felt that it was lazy writing, to be honest. Like, I did not like when they talk about her becoming an iconic hero in the same vein as Satele Shan, and almost like kind of given, like, you know, or, you know, the role as Republic counterpart to Malgus. I don't, and maybe I'm misinterpreting this, and if I am, correct me. However, I don't see it at all. To me, she is just an angry person who's still green and fresh. And yeah, Satele had that issue a little bit too, but Satele showed so much more, like, restraint and promise, even in the videos and the cinematics they had for her, that is something you don't see in Tau. You see someone who's ready to fly off the handle, but then she's like, oh, no, we're cool. Like, the one scene that just continues to stand out to me, besides that one weird flare in the background of this, is that she, that scene when she's over Corellia, and you talk about, like, oh, we're all in the plane and we're all going to Corellia, and then the Sith comes out of nowhere. Apparently he doesn't see me, even though I'm the size of a freaking mountain, doesn't see me, kills everyone on board, and then I somehow take him out. And to me, that one scene has always bothered me, in the fact that, like, so this one Sith guy kills everyone, takes everyone out. You had no clue he was even there, and he just, like a freaking Sith ninja, a Sinja, comes out of nowhere, does his deed, and then you come out of nowhere because somehow he missed you. What? And then you took him out, and now you're having issues and whatnot with anger and whatnot. And I can understand that. That's something I can see Jedi definitely dealing with. But with the way they wrote her, at least in my humble bearded opinion, And she is nowhere near Satil Shan, especially Satil Shan in her younger days. And I just don't see it. And I honestly don't want to see it. I think that would be a bad play on their move. I don't think she's at all ready to take any type of leadership role, especially towards the Jedi. I never killed Nostral, so he's still alive. But I think there are far better leaders within the Jedi than her. She's so not ready. She's got growing up to do. And I honestly would not be shocked if somewhere down the road she does not become a Jedi. She leaves the Jedi Order. Just saying, that could be a thing. What are your thoughts about this, my friend? What are your thoughts about Ossus so far? Do you agree with Charles Boyd? Do you like what Charles Boyd had to say? Do you agree with me about Tau? Or do you think I'm just dead wrong and I should shut up? Either way, put your comments in the comment section below. Hit that like button like crazy, because the more likes we get and the more thumbs up we get, the easier it is for people to find us and the more reach we have to the community. Anyways, my friends, also, if you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button for more fun. Become part of the family here of Boomy Nation, the freak show of YouTube, the black sheep of gaming. And as always, my friend, remember to be kind. It's about community. And we'll see you later. Good day.